We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Hey and Aleph and Meseches Sukkah. This is Sukkah Daf 45a. On the previous Amud, the Tana taught in front of Rav Nachman. That's the person who recites the Mishnayos. He taught in front of Rav Nachman that the Mishnah should read that they used to put the lulavim on the roof, al gag ha'itzdava, on the roof of the colonnade, on the roof that was over the benches. And so Rav Nachman says back of Achili Yavshan hu tzarich. Why would you put it on the roof? Do you need to dry it out? On the contrary, Rashi says Varei yavish pasal. A dry lulav is actually pasal, so why would you put it on the roof? And so the Gemara says, rather the way the Mishnah should read is, al gav ha'itzdava, on top of the benches that were part of the colonnade. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rachva, Amar Rav Yehuda. Rachva says in the name of Rav Yehuda, Harabayas stav kafel hoya. Harabayas was a double colonnade, stav lifnim stav. It was one colonnade within another. As Rashi over here says, stav kafel, it's debos makifos also. There were benches surrounding it. It's debos acherim hekif lifnim hekif. And then there was another circle of benches that were within that one. So it was like a double colonnade. And therefore there was plenty of room to put these lulavim. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, mitzvahs arava. Ketzad, how did they do the mitzvah of arava? Makom hoya Matam Yerushalayim and Nikra Motza. There was an area at the bottom of Yerushalayim. It was called Motza. Yordan Lasham. They would go down to there. Umelaktin Misham Morbio Shal Arava, and they would collect from their branches of Arava. Uboin Vizokfin Osan Betzidei HaMizbeach, and they would come and they would stand them up at the side of the Mizbeach. V'Rashei and Kfufin Al Gabe HaMizbeach, and the tops of the Aravas would bend over the top of the Mizbeach. Tiku V'Hariu V'Tiku. They would blow a tkiya, a true and a tkiya. Every day they would circle the Mizbeach one time. And they would say, Ono Hashem Hoshiana, Ono Hashem Atzlichana. They would say, Ono Hashem Hoshiana and Ono Hashem Atzlichana. Rabbi Yehuda says, Ani Vaho Hoshiana. They would say, Ani Vaho Hoshiana. V'yosu ayom, and that day, meaning on the seventh day of Sukkot, Makifin and Mizbeach Sheva Pa'amim, they would circle the Mizbeach 7 times. B'shaz petiros and mahinom, when they left, what would they say? They would say, Yofi lach Mizbeach, Yofi lach Mizbeach, it is beautiful for you, the Mizbeach, it is beautiful for you, the Mizbeach. Rabbi Lazar says, Lei v'lach Mizbeach, to him and to you is the Mizbeach, Lei v'lach Mizbeach, to him and to you is the Mizbeach. And the Mishnah continues, K'maseu b'chol kach maseu b'Shabbos, the same way they did it on the weekday, that's what they would do on Shabbos. Elashim alaktin osan me'erev, the only difference was they would collect them from before Shabbos, umanichin osan begigyo shel zav, and they would put them in golden basins, k'dei shelo yichmoshu, in order that they shouldn't wilt. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says, Charayos shel dekel, branches of palm trees, hayu mevi'in, they would bring those, v'chovtin osan bekarka, and they would beat them on the earth, b'tzidei ha-mizbeach, at the side of the Mizbeach, v'yosu hayom nikra chibut charayos, that day they called Chibut Charayos, the beating of these branches. Miyad tinoko shomdenes lulavein va'ochlen esrogain. From the hands of the children, they used to take out the lulav and they used to eat their esrog. Rashi over here explains, first Charayos shel dekel hayu mevi'in bein bechol bein b'Shabbos. They used to bring these palm branches whether on weekdays or on Shabbos. Over Gemara mefarish time, and the Gemara will explain why. Charayos again is anofim. Charayos means branches. Miyad tinoko shomdenes lulavein hagedolim shomdenes lulave hakatana miyodem b'shvi. On the 7th day, the adults would take the lulavs from the children. V'ochlen esrogein shel tinokos, and they would eat the esrogim of the children. V'ein bedavar lo mishum gezav v'lo mishum darchei shalom shekach noagu machmas simcha. This was not a problem of stealing. It wasn't a problem of causing there to be a lack of peace, because this was something they did out of celebration, out of happiness for the holiday. And the Gemara says, Tana, it was taught Mokum Klan Yohave. It was a military colony. This area mentioned in the Mishnah called Motza, where they used to get the Aravas, was a military colony. Rashi over here says Kolonia ben Chorin min Hamashal Melch. It was an area that was free from paying taxes to the government, to the Roman government. And so the Gemara says, V'tana didon, my time of Karile Motza. So why does our Tana call it Motza? And the Gemara explains, Aidi demepak mikarga de malka, since this area was exempt from the tax of the king, so Karile Motza. That's why it's called Motza, like means it's excluded from that tax. Rashi over here says, demepak mikarga Motza michlal hamas, excluded from the tax, shel melech, of the king. V'hainu nami klanya de Tosefta. That's the same thing as what they call klanya in the Tosefta. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots, quoting the Mishnah, Boin v'zokfin osan betzidei v'chulu. They used to stand up these aravas at the side of the Mizbeach. Tana was taught, Rabos v'aruchos ugvoos achar eser amma. These aravas, they were high, they were very tall, by 11 amos. Kadeshu gochos ala Mizbeach amma, in order that they would lean over the Mizbeach by 1 amma. The Mizbeach itself was 10 amos high. So Amar Mereimar Mishum Mar Zutra. So Mereimar says in the name of Mar Zutra, Shma Mino, you see from this Al HaYisod Monachlu, that they used to put the Aravas on the Yisod of the Mizbeach, on the foundation of the Mizbeach. Because if you think they would put it on the earth, on the ground itself, Michli, let's do a little calculation. Allah Amma V'Konas Amma, the Mizbeach, it would go up 1 Amma, and then it would indent 1 Amma, Zeu Yisod, and that was called the Yisod. That was the foundation of the Mizbeach. Allah Chamesh V'Konas Amma, then it would go up 5 Amos, and again, it would indent another Amma, Zeu Sovev. That was called the Sovev of the Mizbeach. Allah Shalosh, then it would go up another 3 Amos, Zeu Makom Akronos, and that would reach the area of the corners of the Mizbeach. So if that was the case, you have the indentations as well. So Gochos Al Gav HaMizbeach Hechim Ashkachasla. If you're going to put it on the earth, if you're going to put the Aravos on the ground, how is it they're going to lean over on the Mizbeach? Elalav Shma Mina, rather, what must you see? Hayesod Monachlu Shma Mina. You see, they put it on the Yesod of the Mizbeach, and the Gemara says, indeed, you see that this was the case. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Avo says, Ma'ikro, what's the pasuk that indicates this? Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Isru Chag Ba'avosim Ar Karnos HaMizbeach. It says you're going to encircle on the holiday with the branches until the corners of the Mizbeach. Rashi over here says, Ma'ikro Da'olos L'mala Min HaMizbeach. What pasuk tells us that these branches should go above the Mizbeach? It says, Isru Chag Ba'avosim Bilonos. It means to say that, again, you surround it with trees. Kamo Vein Avosim Haisot Tzmaraso, Betzad Shalo Isro Kamo Hakefo. Isru means to say, like, you surround it, you encircle it. Osri Lagefen Yischar Yisrael. So again, the idea is you encircle the Mizbeach with these branches. Ad Karnos HaMizbeach means Ad Karnos Shem Gavoos Min HaMizbeach, until the corners which go above the Mizbeach, meaning that indicates that the branches should go above the Mizbeach. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Avo, Amar Rabbi Lozer. Rabbi Avo says in the name of Rabbi Lozer, Kol Hanota Lulav Ba'agudo, anyone who takes a lulav that is bound, V'hadas Ba'avos, when he takes the hadas that is thick with leaves, Ma'ala olav hakosov kilu bana mizbeach. The pasuk considers it as if the person built a mizbeach, v'hikrav olav carbon, and brought a carbon. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, and we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Memhei Amud Beis.